what we like about LCR is the sense of family that the church and the congregation seem to just surround you with as you walk through the door. Our first experience with LCR was one of hesitation on my part, because it was a new church, we were new in the community, and I just didn't want to barge in to a service without meeting with the pastor first and kind of getting a feel of the church. But our first time there, it felt like we were being welcomed home by family members we hadn't seen in a long time. Everyone was really, really nice, and they talked to us as if they knew us. There were smiles all over the place, and you just couldn't forget that hug from Pastor at the end of the service, which was something I wasn't entirely used to, but have grown to appreciate at the end of each service.
Shortly after we started going to LCR, we found out that we were pregnant. And we were older parents. I was 44, so we knew that there were chances of the child having some issues, maybe having Down syndrome. At 17 weeks, we found out that Genevieve would have Down syndrome, and then at 19 weeks, we found out that she would have a congenital heart defect. Her heart defect was pretty severe, and we were told that she would need heart surgery at some point very soon, very shortly after birth, if she even made it to birth. And there were times after being put on the prayer chain that my anxiety was so high, I felt like I was drowning. And I would sit at the kitchen table. I remember one day I was sitting at the kitchen table and feeling that anxiety just bury me. And all of a sudden, a wave of peace came and just enveloped me. And I can't explain what that peace was. The only thing I thought of, the first thing that I thought of, was it was all of the prayers that I was receiving from all of the members at LCR, and that God's grace was giving me a huge hug. And while we didn't know if things were going to be okay or not with Genevieve, we did feel that whatever the outcome, we would be able to handle it with our church community and with our faith. When Genevieve was born, she was, again, unexpectedly born. We had scheduled a C-section, and she decided she was going to come a little earlier, and so we needed some help with getting the kids to the hospital, and we had somebody from the church actually bring the kids to the hospital. Things did not go as planned at all, but I think through all of the prayer, when she first came out, she was blue, and they thought that she would immediately have to go over to Children's, which is what we were kind of expecting. But another miracle happened in our lives, and she pinked up, and she was able to room in with me, which we never anticipated. And then we were able to go home after 3 days in the hospital, which was, again, incredible, and then wait for the heart surgery. When we went to actually have her heart surgery, one of the nurses at Children's was a member of our church and came in with us and with Pastor, who was fantastic, at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, some ungodly hour like that, and prayed with us. And
Sat with us through most of the procedure.
Yes, and when they couldn't start her heart again, Pastor was right there praying with us, holding our hands. When the surgery was supposed to be done at 1:30, and at 4:30 she's finally getting wheeled out. Her chest is open, and they tell us that the next 12 hours are critical. The outreach from the church and the unconditional support that we received during that time was fantastic.
Incredible. Yeah. Yeah. And once again, it's that sense of family again. I mean, we weren't even members of the church yet. We were still in that process, and the church family just came to us out of nowhere. There'd be a knock at the door, and you'd answer the door, and there's someone with tons of food, or someone offering to pick your kids up from school, or take you to the hospital, or do this or do that. It was just amazing, the amount of support that we got from a church that we weren't even members of yet. And it's that's the sense of family that grabbed us right there.
Yeah. So Genevieve healed very well. Yes, it was tense, but she is on the road to recovery completely and is a bouncing, precocious, almost typical 2-year-old. I mean, yes, she has Down syndrome. Yes, she has some issues, but overall, she's an absolute joy and doing very, very well.
And after everything that we experienced and we went through, and once again, the help and support we got from the church, seeing how everyone gave so readily to us, it just prompted us to want to give back in return and help out in service.
Yeah, one of the first things we got involved in was senior high youth. There was a big spaghetti dinner, and so, was making a pot of spaghetti, and Annalise was involved in that, and Allison Best asked me to do a product survey. She's like, oh, we need fundraising. So I got involved in doing a product survey, which I had never done before, but I thought, why not? So we've done senior high youth things, the yard sale.
The Appalachian project.
Annalise
has done that.
Yep. Vacation Bible School. Daryl's on the welcoming committee. We do communion setup. We greet. We just find whatever niche we can fit into our lives to serve. It's something that we feel is very important to our family life and to our community.
And it doesn't have to be a whole lot. It's I know some people look at serving as a matter of, oh, I've got to give up this time, or I have to not do this so I can go do that. And it's not like that at all. It's something that we look forward to doing when the opportunity arises. We get to spend time with friends and people that we've come to consider as family, and it's fun. There's no other way to really describe it. It's not work. It's not something we have to do. It's something we want to do, and it's actually, we have a good time doing it.
It feeds our soul. And we see service as a way of giving back to everybody around us that helped us so much. Plus, there's suffering all over, and we see our service as helping to alleviate some of that suffering and as being a conduit for God's grace.